Al Capone, a name that echoes through the annals of American history. The name still sends shivers down your spine, conjuring images of a man who ruled with an iron fist. A name synonymous with ruthlessness, power, and the untamed spirit of the Roaring Twenties. A time when the city never slept, and the night was alive with jazz, flappers, and the undercurrent of illicit activities. But even this titan of crime had humble beginnings. Before the fame, before the infamy, there was just a boy in Brooklyn. Born in 1899, he grew up in the rough and tumble streets of Brooklyn, a place where dreams were often overshadowed by the harsh realities of life. His family, Italian immigrants, just trying to make a life in the land of opportunity, they were part of the wave of newcomers who brought with them hopes, traditions, and a relentless work ethic. Little did they know their son would become a legend not for his virtues, but for his vices. Brooklyn wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. It was a place where the American dream often collided with the American nightmare. Poverty was a way of life for many, and young Al was no stranger to it. The streets were filled with children like him, each one trying to carve out a piece of the world for themselves. The streets were his classroom, teaching him survival instincts he'd carry throughout his life. Every corner, every alleyway had a lesson to impart. Respect was earned, not given. In a world where might often made right, young Al quickly learned the importance of standing his ground. And Al, even at a young age, commanded respect. His peers saw in him a leader, someone who could navigate the treacherous waters of their environment. He was a smart kid, Al. His intelligence was evident, but so was his restlessness. The confines of a classroom couldn't contain his ambitions, but he was also restless, itching for something more than the drudgery of factory work or the dead-end jobs that awaited him. The monotonous grind of daily labor was not the life he envisioned for himself. He craved excitement, power, and the allure of easy money. The nightlife, the hustle, the thrill of the chase, these were the things that called to him. The streets whispered promises of all three. They beckoned him with the allure of quick riches and the intoxicating scent of power. All he had to do was listen. And listen he did, with an ear finely tuned to the opportunities that lay hidden in the shadows. By his teens, Al was already affiliated with street gangs. These early affiliations were his first steps into a world where he would eventually reign supreme. Petty crimes, small-time hustles, it was all a learning experience for the future kingpin. Each act, no matter how minor, was a building block in his criminal education. He wasn't afraid of hard work, especially if it meant putting a few extra bucks in his pocket. Whether it was running errands or more dubious tasks, he was always ready to seize an opportunity. He was ambitious, hungry, and ready to climb. The ladder of success, no matter how crooked, was his to ascend. The question was, how high would he go? The answer, as history would show, was higher than anyone could have imagined. From the streets of Brooklyn to the throne of Chicago's underworld, Al Capone's journey was just beginning. New York City in the early 1900s was a melting pot of cultures. The streets were alive with the sounds of different languages, the smells of diverse cuisines, and the vibrant energy of people chasing the American dream. It was a breeding ground for opportunity, where immigrants arrived daily, hoping to carve out a better life for themselves and their families. The crowded tenements were filled with stories of hope, struggle, and resilience. However, beneath the surface, the city was riddled with poverty, corruption, and violence. The stark contrast between the wealthy and the poor was evident, and the police were often as corrupt as the criminals they were supposed to catch. For a young and ambitious Al Capone, this chaotic environment was the perfect training ground. Born to Italian immigrant parents, Al quickly learned that the streets of New York were not paved with gold, but with opportunities for those willing to take risks. The 5 Points Gang became his family, a group of young men bound by their shared desire to rise above their circumstances. They were more than just a gang. They were a brotherhood. Led by the notorious Paul Kelly, the 5 Points Gang was a melting pot of young thugs, all eager to prove themselves. Kelly, a charismatic and ruthless leader, saw potential in Al and took him under his wing. Pickpocketing, gambling, extortion, you name it, the 5 Points boys dabbled in it. They were involved in every illicit activity imaginable, learning the ropes of the criminal underworld. Al thrived in this environment. He was a natural, quickly rising through the ranks with his sharp mind and fearless attitude. He learned the art of survival on the streets where only the toughest could make it. One fateful night, Al's quick temper got the best of him. In a dimly lit bar, a heated argument erupted over a misplaced insult about his family. The situation escalated quickly, and Al, unable to control his rage, went too far. The bar fight turned violent, and Al's fury was unleashed. He slashed a man across the face, leaving a permanent reminder of his rage. The deep scar would forever mark the man's face, a testament to Al's ferocity. That scar, earned in the heat of the moment, would become Al's calling card. It was a symbol of his willingness to go to any lengths to defend his honor. They started calling him Scarface. The name stuck, becoming synonymous with his identity. It was a badge of honor, a symbol of his fearlessness and reputation on the streets. To Al, the scar was more than just a mark. It was a testament to his survival and his rise in the criminal world. It was a constant reminder of the night he proved his mettle, but it also made him a target. The police knew his name, knew his face, and were always on the lookout for Scarface. His notoriety was both a blessing and a curse. The increased attention from law enforcement made it difficult for Al to operate in New York. The city was becoming too small for his ambitions, and he needed a new playground. New York was getting too small for Al Capone. The city's streets, once filled with endless possibilities, now felt confining. He needed a change of scenery, a new city to conquer. The opportunity came knocking in the form of Johnny Torrio, a name that would change Al's life forever. Johnny Torrio, a seasoned gangster with a keen eye for talent, saw potential in the young Al Capone. Torrio was looking for someone to help him expand his operations in Chicago, a city teeming with vice and ripe for the taking. Torrio saw potential in the young gangster, a raw talent that could be molded and shaped. He extended an invitation to Al, offering him a chance to start anew in the Windy City. He invited Al to Chicago, a city teeming with vice and ripe for the taking. Al didn't hesitate. The promise of new opportunities and the chance to work with Torrio was too good to pass up. He packed his bags, kissed New York goodbye, and headed west. The Windy City awaited, and with it, a new chapter in the life of Al Capone. The journey to Chicago marked the beginning of his transformation from a small-time thug to one of the most infamous gangsters in American history. Johnny Torrio wasn't just a gangster, he was a visionary. He saw the potential of organized crime in a way few others did. He understood that power came from structure, discipline, and a ruthless efficiency that left no room for sentiment. Al Capone, with his street smarts and ambition, was the perfect protege. Torrio took Capone under his wing, teaching him the intricacies of the Chicago underworld. He schooled him in the art of negotiation, the importance of loyalty, and the cold, hard reality that violence, while messy, was sometimes a necessary evil. Under Torrio's guidance, Capone thrived. He rose quickly through the ranks of Torrio's Chicago outfit, earning a reputation for his business acumen and his unwavering ruthlessness. He was loyal, ambitious, and utterly fearless, a dangerous combination in the cutthroat world of organized crime. Prohibition was in full swing, and Chicago was a city drowning in illegal booze. Torrio saw the potential of this new market, a golden opportunity to amass wealth and power beyond their wildest dreams, and he knew just the man to run it. Capone took to bootlegging like a fish to water. He organized shipments, bribed officials, and ruthlessly eliminated competition. He was a natural-born businessman with a keen eye for profit and an even keener instinct for survival. Under his leadership, the Chicago outfit's bootlegging operation flourished, making them millions and turning Capone into a legend. Chicago in the 1920s, a city of contrasts where the old world met the new and tradition clashed with modernity. The skyline was a testament to its rapid growth, with towering buildings reaching for the sky, symbolizing the ambition and drive of its inhabitants. The Jazz Age was in full swing, and the city pulsed with a frenetic energy. Clubs and speakeasies were filled with the sounds of jazz, the music of rebellion and freedom. Flapper girls danced with abandon, and men in fedoras toasted to the good times, all while the city buzzed with an electric atmosphere. But beneath the glitz and glamour, a darker side lurked. The shadows of the city hid secrets, where deals were made in hushed tones and lives were changed in an instant. The alleyways were the veins of the city's underbelly, pulsing with illicit activities and danger. A world of vice, corruption, and violence ruled by gangsters and fueled by the seemingly insatiable thirst for liquor. Prohibition had turned the city into a battleground, where the law was often just another player in the game. Speakeasies thrived, and the line between right and wrong blurred in the pursuit of profit. It was a city ripe for the taking, and Al Capone was ready to play. With a keen mind for business and a ruthless streak, he saw the opportunities that others missed. He was a man who understood the power of fear and respect, and he was determined to carve out his own empire. He arrived in 1919, a loyal lieutenant in Torrio's burgeoning empire. Johnny Torrio, the mentor who saw potential in the young Capone, taught him the ropes of the underworld. Together, they envisioned a criminal enterprise that would dominate Chicago. Chicago was everything New York wasn't. While New York was crowded and chaotic, Chicago offered space and opportunity. The city's layout, with its wide streets and open spaces, provided a perfect backdrop for the ambitious plans of Capone and Torrio. Wide open spaces, a booming economy, and a police force riddled with corruption. The city's rapid growth had outpaced its ability to maintain order, and the police were often more interested in lining their own pockets than enforcing the law. This environment was a fertile ground for the rise of organized crime. It was a gangster's paradise. The opportunities for illicit profit were endless, and the risks were mitigated by the pervasive corruption. For those willing to take the plunge, the rewards were immense, and Capone was more than willing to seize them. Torrio recognized Capone's talents and put him in charge of the South Side, a hotbed of vice and gambling. This was a proving ground for Capone, where he could demonstrate his ability to manage and expand the operations. The South Side was a microcosm of the larger city, with its own set of challenges and opportunities. Capone, with his trademark charisma and ruthlessness, quickly established dominance. He was a natural leader, able to inspire loyalty and fear in equal measure. His presence in the clubs and on the streets was a constant reminder of his growing influence. He knew how to make money, how to command respect, and how to deal with those who crossed him. His operations were efficient and ruthless, with a clear hierarchy and a focus on profitability. Capone's ability to navigate the complexities of the underworld set him apart from his rivals. He built a network of loyal associates, many of them fellow Italians who had come to America seeking a better life. These men, bound by a shared heritage and a common goal, formed the backbone of Capone's empire. They were more than just employees. They were family. He provided them with opportunities, protection, and a sense of belonging. In a city where survival often depended on who you knew, Capone's network offered a lifeline. His associates knew that loyalty to Capone meant security and prosperity. In return, they were willing to kill for him, die for him, all in the name of loyalty and the promise of a better tomorrow. Chicago was Capone's oyster. His men were his greatest asset, and their unwavering loyalty was the key to his success. He was young, ambitious, and surrounded by loyal soldiers. Capone's youth was an advantage, giving him the energy and drive to pursue his goals relentlessly. His ambition knew no bounds, and he was constantly looking for new ways to expand his influence. The city, with its endless opportunities and lax law enforcement, was his for the taking. The bustling streets were a testament to the city's vibrancy, and the police's indifference only made it easier for Capone to operate with impunity. And he wasn't about to let anything stand in his way. With a clear vision and the determination to see it through, Capone was poised to become one of the most powerful figures in Chicago's history. His rise was just beginning, and the city would never be the same. Al Capone's reign over Chicago seemed unassailable, but even the mightiest titans faced their downfall. The 1920s roared on, and Capone's empire grew, but so did the attention of law enforcement. Despite countless attempts to bring him to justice for his numerous crimes, it was the mundane charge of tax evasion that would finally ensnare him. In 1931, after years of meticulous investigation by the federal government, Capone was convicted of tax evasion. The trial was a media sensation, with the press documenting every twist and turn. Capone, once the untouchable kingpin, found himself on the other side of the law, facing a judge and jury who were determined to see him pay for his crimes. The sentence was handed down, 11 years in federal prison. It was a stunning fall from grace. Capone, who had once ruled the streets with an iron fist, was now just another inmate. The federal government had finally caught up with him, and his empire began to crumble. His loyal associates, once bound by fear and respect, scattered like leaves in the wind, seeking new alliances and opportunities. Capone was sent to the infamous Alcatraz prison, where the harsh conditions and isolation took a toll on his health. The man who had once commanded an empire from the shadows of Chicago's alleyways was now confined to a small cell, his power and influence reduced to nothing. The city of Chicago moved on, but the legacy of Al Capone remained. His rise and fall were emblematic of the turbulent times, a reminder of the thin line between ambition and downfall. Capone's imprisonment marked the end of an era, but the stories of his exploits continued to captivate the public imagination. Capone's life serves as a cautionary tale of how the pursuit of power and wealth can lead to one's undoing. His name, once synonymous with fear and respect, became a symbol of the inevitable consequences of a life of crime. The fall of Al Capone was a reminder that no one is above the law, and that even the most formidable figures can be brought down by their own actions. And so, the story of Al Capone, the gangster who ruled Chicago, came to an end. His empire dismantled, his health deteriorated, and his legacy forever tarnished. The city he once dominated continued to grow and evolve, but the shadow of Capone's reign would linger for years to come. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating stories.